Seattle Mariners make a huge trade here, and they get Jesse Winker, Eugenio Suarez for Justin Dunn, Brandon Williamson, and Jake Farley. So right here, the Cincinnati Reds, the fire sale continues. And we've seen it now with the Oakland Athletics trading early in the week. Chris Bassett to the New York Mets, and Olsen earlier today to the Atlanta Braves. And now the Cincinnati Reds yesterday trading Sonny Gray to Minnesota and trading Winker and Eugenio Suarez, two of their best power hitters, arguably, to the Seattle Mariners. So the Mariners last season, they were on the fringe of making the playoffs. They fell a couple games short. And right here, they get two good hitters in this deal, especially in the power department. So Jesse Winker last season with Cincinnati, it was finally his breakout season. 24 home runs, 71 RBIs, a stolen base, 77 runs scored, a 305 batting average, and a 394 on-base percentage in 423 at-bats. So this Cincinnati Red team, I just don't get it. They have a lot of talented players. They made a push for the playoffs last season, but ownership doesn't have money. And now they're trading their best players away here. And Jesse Winker, I thought they could get more for him in this deal. But obviously, they couldn't get it done. And the Mariners were taking on most of Suarez's contract, I would imagine, since the return, in my opinion, wasn't much for Winker and Suarez. So Jesse Winker last season, great year, no doubt about it. And this season going to Seattle, the numbers are going to go down, I think, here. Because Seattle is not a hitter's ballpark like Cincinnati, which is a bandbox over there. And the ball really flies. So Winker, I think the stats will go down a little. I still think he'll be pretty solid in the American League. And he's a player I'm probably going to target in the upcoming fantasy drafts in the next few weeks. Anywhere from the 6th to the 8th round, because I don't think he'll be a top round guy early in drafts and not put up the numbers like he did last season. Now on to Eugenio Suarez. Suarez, the last few seasons, he's been a home run guy, and that's about it. Batting in the 200s or below 200s. Change of scenery for him, I think, is well needed. And now with Seager retired over there in Seattle, they have the opening, obviously, at third base. And last season, like I mentioned, Suarez, the power's legit, always is. 31 home runs, 79 RBI, 71 runs scored, a 198 batting average, a 286 on base in 505 at-bats. So right now, he's a player you'll probably target in the later rounds of your fantasy draft because he's going to hurt you striking out. He's not going to have a good on base, obviously. And like I mentioned, that batting average is horrible on the 200 mark. But if you need power, Suarez will definitely help you. And he does qualify at shortstop as well. That's where he played last season most of the year with Cincinnati, third and shortstop. So he's a late round guy to target and a guy good for your fantasy bench. And I think in Seattle, the change of scenery, he could get back to putting up at least a 240, 250 average and hit 30-plus home runs. So I think the change for him is better than it is for Jesse Winker. Now on to the other side of the deal. The Cincinnati Reds, the two main pieces in this deal is Justin Dunn and Jake Fraley, who last season broke out for Seattle in a little stint. So Justin Dunn, he was traded a few seasons ago with the New York Mets in the Robinson Cano deal. And he just hasn't done much for the Seattle Mariners team over the last few seasons that he's been in the big leagues. Last season for Justin Dunn, it was a mediocre one, 50 and a third only, 1-3 record, 49 strikeouts, 3.75 ERA, and a 1.31 whips. And now he goes to a ballpark where that ball flies instantly, and it's one of the smallest ballparks in Cincinnati in all the major leagues. And now this Cincinnati Red team looks like they're going to be rebuilding, and Dunn's not going to get a lot of run support as well. So he's a guy I'm probably not thinking about on draft day. But if you want to get him, you get him in the last round or two as a flyer and maybe catch lightning in a bottle, because obviously this move doesn't help Dunn at all. And he hasn't been good so far in the first few seasons of his career. And Jake Fraley, I think he's going to step in to a corner outfield starting role with this Red team, or the DH spot to start the season, because this guy, he showed some power and he actually had some decent fantasy value for a little last season before the league caught up to him, and he struggled last season. 9 home runs, 36 RBIs, 10 stolen bases, 27 runs scored, 214 at-bats, a 210 batting average, and a nice 352 on-base percentage. So Fraley in deeper leagues, though, I still will look to take a shot for him. But his value definitely goes up. He's most likely going to get a starting job. And like I mentioned, it's a great hitter's ballpark in Cincinnati. So a nice blockbuster deal here for the Seattle Mariners. They're trying to contend this season in the AL West. So they get Jesse Winker and Eugenio Suarez, and the Cincinnati Reds fire sale and rebuilding mode continues, getting Justin Dunn and Jake Fraley as the main pieces in this deal. And we'll see what these players do in the upcoming 2022 season.